Yesterday, the story broke that Dwayne Johnson has been chronically late on Red One. Bombshell reports reportedly costing Amazon and MGM Studios uh, 250 million. But now the studio has denied this report. Dwayne Johnson is chronically late on Red One, costing millions. And everybody yesterday was talking about that, saying, going down breakdowns of how being late on set costs money and stuff like that. And it just kind of has a snowball effect of ramping up the budget. You also got reports that that he's peeing in bottles to save time, but that's kind of counter programming, isn't it? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. He cares enough not to take time to go back to his trailer to use the washroom to go in a bottle, but then he shows up late. Like, those two don't compute. If he's that casual about it, doesn't really care about the production, no. If he's late, then he would also take the time to go back to the trailer to relieve himself. Right? That's the way I would see it. So some of these reports, it's kind of, we have to dance around some of these topics because it's a minefield. It's a minefield right now until we find out with a little bit more concrete evidence exactly what happened or what is happening with The Rock, because something's happening. This just doesn't come out of nowhere, right? And I'll back that up with some evidence here in a second. But the Red One is it's a Christmas movie with Chris Evans that comes out this Christmas, and it spiraled over 250 million in budget. The only thing Dwayne was consistent at was being chronically late. The report said it was an effing disaster. Dwayne truly doesn't give an F, said one insider. So, insider, it's kind of like, wow, you got to take that with a grain of salt, right? It's hearsay. It's secondhand. It's third or fourth hand information by the time we get it, guys. And everything that I've heard about Dwayne Johnson on set, up till now, is that he always comes prepared. He's a professional, right? He shows up on time. He knows his lines. He knows what has to get done. That's all I've ever heard, which led to beefs between him and Vin Diesel on the Fast and Furious franchise. Because, what was it, for number 7 or 6, when they were trying to get him back for 7, he was like, no, I can't do it because it's Vin Diesel that's been late on coming onto the set. And we're all sitting around waiting for him to come out of his trailer. And, I kind of raked Vin Diesel over the coals for that. I used him as my punching bag for a while. And he would come to the set not knowing his lines and just like being diva mentality. So for me, hearing this report, it's kind of like, well, what exactly was happening then? Because you know that they had beefs. You know that they had a falling out, like a major falling out. And there was that report that Vin Diesel said to The Rock that he was trying to give him some tough love, right? Saying, "Hey, you gotta be a better professional here on set." And then you hear the reports about the way that Vin Diesel was behaving. So that's why I was kind of like, that's why I was using him kind of as a punching bag for like unprofessional behavior. So if it does ever come to light that Vin Diesel, that I owe him an apology for all of this, well, yeah, of course I'll apologize. But we have heard and reports that Vin Diesel does show up late to set as well, and he does show up unprepared, not knowing his lines. He constantly comes out of his trailer sometimes. Well, not sometimes. He comes out with like lines that he's got up here in his head. He hasn't told anybody else that he wants to shoot, kind of thing, right? That kind of stuff. So to hear that now it's The Rock that's been doing all of this, that he's late, and it's for a myriad of reasons, guys. I don't know if it's scheduling or he's working out for 3 hours. Brass tacks of it all, like getting down to the nitty gritty of it. It's kind of like Dwayne Johnson and $7 have been incredible partners on Red One. So it's his own production company. There's contracts that you sign at the beginning of films A film that audiences of all ages are going to love this holiday season. Our testing has been strong. The reaction from CinemaCon speaks for itself. We wouldn't have made it without Dwayne's constant work and support. And he is good at marketing. Like he uses his social media, his platforms to promote his movies. Uh, so he's a little bit in that aspect good at it. But um, as I said, it's kind of hard to believe exactly how much of it is true. A lot of it's hearsay. Uh, on the HBO series Ballers, apparently he was regularly 3 or 4 hours late, keeping 100 crew members waiting for no reason. Uh, his absolute refusal to work more than 4 or 5 hours a day, it's a control type of thing. So it's machismo, it's testosterone that, well, of course, when you get these two guys, big beefy guys, butting heads, then things aren't going to go over very well. Now, they have sort of seemed to have smoothed things over for at least possibly Fast 11. I just I don't know about The Rock's career trajectory. I pulled up a few things here that we can take a look at, and not many of them, but Skyscraper, like as a single performer, like can he carry a movie? Skyscraper had 304 million worldwide on a budget of 125 million. So yeah, it was marginally profitable. Well, it was profitable because double that 250 million because of marketing and what theaters take. It was about 50 million in profit. It was there, but that's because the budget was not astronomical. It was fairly uh, reasonable, conservative these days. No, movies should be this amount. When you get up to 200 million, you should be just shaking your head. What are you guys doing? Okay. What's next? Jungle Cruise was also out in 2021, right? 220 million at the box office. So you see a bit of a decline here. 220 million on a $200 million budget. That had Emily Blunt in it too, right? So it's kind of like, are people going to see this because of The Rock, or what the heck is going on here? Uh, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. What was the last one? Next Level, right? 801 million. But he's part of an ensemble there. He's not carrying it all on himself. So that's why I didn't quite pull that one. Black Adam, all on him, right? He was the driving force of making this movie work. 393 million at the box office on a budget of around 260 million. There's like a floating number there. Either way you cut it, Black Adam didn't make money. So you can see that his results haven't been all that good unless he's part of a bigger mix, right? So a report like this of him being late to not only TV series like Ballers, but now movies, the movies that he produces, it's like, do you want to work with him? Would you work with him? Box office wise, we just looked at some of the numbers. It's kind of like meh. If it's Jumanji and he's part like with Jack Black and Kevin Hart and Karen Gillan, then he's part of a team there, right? But him by himself, Skyscraper, just barely scraped by, and Black Adam definitely did not do what they wanted it to do. Now, I'm not counting Red One here or Red Notice, that movie with Ryan Reynolds and Gal Gadot. But those were streaming movies, right? And yeah, Red Notice, which was just kind of schlocky, kind of throwaway fun. But as this story came out yesterday, we also got uh, notified again that on the set of Red Notice, Ryan Reynolds, who also produces stuff, like he has a producer hand in his works, chewed him out for being late. And that one I believe, because Ryan Reynolds seems like he is the one that's should be the standard of like professionalism. He got onto the scene, he made films that he didn't really want to make, and he made his shtick work, and then he started to produce his own stuff, and then he got Deadpool made, and then he made all of these other humanitarian side things going on in the background. He makes his own kind of liquor, doesn't he? So he's built his own empire. So he knows what it takes to be a professional, and being a professional is not being late for anything. And the reports that came out were pretty damning that this was a habitual thing for The Rock. Now, we still haven't heard his side of the story, but I can understand, okay, your kid falls down at school, you got to go, you got to leave the set and you got to go. Your house was on fire, sorry, you were late, but not on a consistent basis. And definitely not for the consistent basis of you having to work out for 3 hours. All of this stuff should be stipulated in the contracts. And if you are late to the set on a basis that's like all the time, then there should be clauses in there for your dismissal. I don't care who you are. If you're Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Cruise, another person that's in that top tier of setting the bar for professionalism. Tom Cruise chews out crew members who are not following best practices, safety protocols, right? Because he cares about the project. And this is just one of the dangers, I would suppose, one would have to take about working with somebody who's acting in a project but is also producing it. For every Tom Cruise and Ryan Reynolds, it seems that there also seems to be a Vin Diesel, now, I hate to say it, The Rock. Can he come out and clear his name? Possibly. Yes, he can. He's just got to clear the air. And I don't want to hear some BS that, well, guys, for my physique, I have to be working out this amount of time. Well, fine. Put that in your contract and let the studio know that so that they can schedule around it and you don't have people wasting money just sitting on their hands on the set waiting for you to show up. Guys, if it happened in any other industry, you would be dismissed. If you're in the restaurant, I don't feel like showing up until, 2 hours before close. You're fired. You're done. You're out. Any other industry, you're done. And it should be in this industry. And it's not any other industry, James. If you are a grip, if you're a PA, you're the guy that goes get coffee for people, and you're late doing that, you're fired. You're done. So I know that he's a big star, but we looked at his numbers, guys, and is it worth the risk in working with him? And the cumulative consensus that I've been getting is that Hollywood and the people that work around him have had enough of it. That's what I'm reading from this. There is something going on there, but is his career like completely over? It remains to be seen. And it'll be curious to see how his response to this is, because a lot of us still believe that he's a good dude, but you can be a fine, gentlemanly, nice person that's also not really good to work with because of things about being late. Now, on a personal note, guys, I don't tolerate this kind of person in my life at all. If we're doing something and I say, okay, we're going to meet up half an hour before something starts here, and you are and you're late, okay, I'll give you the pass for the first time. But the second time, you're late, that's it for you. I don't talk to you anymore. It's kind of like, look, you're late again, and they're like, oh yeah, I know, but I was on my phone or whatever. And if I see that that's a consistent behavior in somebody, I don't interact with them. I'm like, I'll put them at a distance. If there's somebody that I have to work with for a certain project or something for the small time, then I'll put up with it. But after that, you're not part of my life anymore. I don't care. And if it's a family member, you haven't seen me talk to somebody directly because I'll put the fear of God in you. You're late. You disrespect me like that. You think anybody disrespects me like that? in my family. So there you go. Our Glass Viking says, is the beginning of the fall of the Rock in order of him to begin redemption arc? Seems like, doesn't seem like him. No, yeah, on the surface of it all, it yeah, but there's not this much feathers ruffled out there uh, if there's not something there. It's just how big of it, how big, right? All right, we've talked about that at length, and that'll be cut out and put up on the channel later on. Let's talk about some other movie news headlines. Hey guys, if you like this kind of stuff, you like talking about this, let me interest you on some of the other things we do here on the channel. Mirror Domains. We do trailer reactions for things like Deadpool and Wolverine and J-Lo's Atlas movie that's coming out this month. The Watchers. We do full series reactions for Fallout and